and welcome to Live in the Solution. I'm Mary Trimble, your astrologer and tarot reader, here with your readings for July the 1st through July the 7th. These readings come in three sections, guys. First the intro, then the astrology report, and then the tarot reading. And there will be skip times if you're checking out your sun, moon and rising in the show more section below. So look out for that. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get all the links to the other videos down there, but check them out. These are general readings, guys. Please don't assume that everything I say here is applicable to you. Just take what resonates and leave the rest. And if you would like a personal, more tailored reading for you, go to my website. And the link to my website is below, and just check out the kind of readings that I offer. Firstly, I want to really apologize for last week. I only got I think it was eight readings out. And I got some tragic and shocking news. I recently interviewed a wonderful astrologer, Dan First, and we recorded the interview on June the 13th, and we plan to release it on the 1st, right before the eclipse. But unfortunately, he passed away on Sunday, June the 23rd. So I just didn't have it in me to do the readings. I was deeply saddened, and I'm very upset about that loss. Anyway, I'm sorry. Out of respect, I asked his family permission to release it as we agreed upon, the time that Dan and I had agreed upon. He was excited about it. I'm excited about it. It's really a great subject. He was an astrocartographer. So check that out on Sunday night. Monday night, Monday the 1st of July. It's 6:15. It'll be released as a premiere, so I will be attending and watching with you, and I can answer questions during it. So a big thank you to Dan's family for allowing me to do that, and honor him, because he was such a lovely soul. So what else? If you haven't joined my Facebook group, the link is below. Join the Facebook group. Every 2 weeks I do a live at 5, and I do a little astrology, and then afterwards, I have my cards and I answer questions, and we have a great time. So join that group, and I'm doing live at 5 tomorrow. That's Monday, the 1st of July, just before the premiere of Dan First's interview. So join me. So let's, without further ado, let's go to your astrology report, shall we? And before I go, happy World Pride. New York is buzzing with pride and love and colour. It's so wonderful. So happy Pride to everyone. Hello everyone, and welcome to the astrology section of your reading. And so much is happening this week. It is wild and crazy. Starting off on Monday, the 1st of July, Mars, the planet of passion and action and courage, is moving into Leo. Also courage, passion, fire, and open heart. So this is a really big shift in energy, and we're probably feeling it on Sunday. It's like it's about, saying what you mean. It's about being passionate. It's about taking action. It's about moving forward. It's about being heart-centered. And so that's a lovely energy. We just have to be careful. There's, of course, fire, there's two sides to passion. Fire is that wonderful sensual passion, and then there's that angry passion, right? So we have to be aware of that for some of us. Now, where it happens in your chart depends on how it affects you. If you would like to know more about that and would like a personal reading, you can go to my website and book a reading with me that can give you some more insight on how that will affect you and all the other aspects that are happening this week. Now, the big news is this total solar eclipse in Cancer. And it's very powerful. It's that Cancer, Capricorn kind of energy that's going to play out through to 2020. Now, this is a beautiful, it's all about our home, right? Because Cancer's about home, it's about nurturing, it's about family, it's about our roots. So it's all about what's going on at home. Now, eclipses are about change. They shake things up. Sometimes there's a little fear there for some of us because the inevitable happens when an eclipse comes into play. And we have this beautiful relationship going on at the same time with Neptune, right? So Neptune is in a trine to this eclipse. And also, this is, a total solar eclipse. So this is a new moon. These are new beginnings. So depending on where it lands in your chart, of course, it's in Cancer. So Cancers are going to feel different. They're going to come out. They're going to be renewed. This is happening in their first house of their identity, who they are. What's happening for them, what's changing within you. It happens with each sign in a different house, so it happens in a different way to each person. Now, we have, it's going to be about relationships for Cancer because we've got Saturn, the planet of lessons, structure, and rules, is opposite. Right? So this is bringing in some, sometimes these lessons aren't pleasant, but they need to happen. They need to happen for us to grow, and we need to grow. So we will be looking at perhaps, or especially Cancers, will be looking at relationships. What relationships do we need to repair? What relationships no longer serve for us? What behaviors no longer serve us? What is it that's holding us back? So it's really a time of self-reflection. It's also, a time of taking care of ourselves. Are we getting enough sleep? Are we getting enough nutrients? Are we getting enough exercise? Those kind of things, we need to really look at ourselves, and are we taking care of ourselves during this time? We need to nurture ourselves, right? So eclipses can have a little fear because change, nobody likes change. And so and things happen in a way sometimes that are disconcerting. But if we can embrace that change and we can really see, it's kind of karmic too, because, Saturn is the Lord of karma, right? So this is whatever has been at play for a while is going to kind of come out, and we're going to be forced to look at some things about ourselves and about our relationships. Or, if you are a Taurus, it's going to be about finances, and so on. So, Gemini about communication. And so anyway, I'm not going to go into the actual details on each sign, but it is a huge and powerful eclipse. Now, we really need to raise our vibration during this time and really take notice of our internal dialogue, and don't let us criticize ourselves, drop it. If we notice that, we need to change that. We need to have the highest vibration at this time to get us through. And meditation, if you're into it, is wonderful for that, for raising our vibration. Now, the next big thing is on Sunday, the 7th, when Mercury stations retrograde. Yes, darling, every summer Mercury goes retrograde. And here it is again. So it is in Leo at the moment, and it is about to backtrack. And by the mid-month, I think it'll be in Cancer yet again. This is always a time of reflection, right? When Mercury goes retrograde, it's a time to go in. It's a time to look at ourselves. It's a time to reorganize, regroup, get our ducks in a row, and get all our ducks in a row, because we need to be ready to go forward. It's not like you stop doing anything. You know, Mercury rules electronics. It's the intellect. It's important to look at how we communicate and you know, reflect on what changes that we can make going forward. Organize, you know, reorganize, you know. Listen, I always say declutter the mind is meditation, right? Declutter your home. You know, do things, work with the energies. When you work with the energy of a planet, you it's like having a little motor in your back, and you know, it's like going from a rowboat to a motorboat. Right? That's what we want. We want to be propelled by the universe. We want to work with the energies of the universe to get our life forward, to move forward more productively and happily, ultimately happily, right? And we'll be moving up to a lunar eclipse mid-month, and I'll talk about that probably in the next astrological report. So without further ado, guys, let's go to your tarot reading, shall we? Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your reading for July the 1st through July the 7th. And this is your tarot card section of your reading. What wonderful guidance, blessings, and helpful information can you give Scorpio for this coming week? Scorpio, this eclipse is happening in your house of spirituality, adventure, long-distance travel. 2 more cards, please, for Scorpio. 2 more cards for Scorpio. 2 more cards for Scorpio. You may be reevaluating your spiritual belief system. You may be interested in the occult. You may be dreaming of long-distance travel, even a spiritual retreat, perhaps. Going on an adventure. 2 more cards for Scorpio, please. 2. Oh, there's the 2. Lovely. Okay, and these are clarifying cards for Scorpio. 1 last shuffle. Okay, please clarify. Oh, there it is. And clarify. There it is. And clarify. Oh, 2 cards came out there. There are so many repeats. You've got to check out your sun, moon, and rising, Scorpio. There's so much going on here. A lot of people are getting similar cards in varying ways. So let's look at your card, shall we? Okay. The first card out for you is the moon. Clarifying the moon is the King of Swords. Then you have the 9 of Swords. Clarifying that is the Chariot. Then you have the 10 of Swords. And clarifying the 10 of Swords is the 7 of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Very, very interesting. Scorpio, the first card out for you is the moon. And of course, the moon is highlighting here. It's a new moon, total solar eclipse. New beginnings, new things, changes. I want to sing that song, but I So the moon sheds a light on something, right? This is what's happening. Eclipses are about doing the right thing for the right reasons, even when it's not easy. And it's the hardest thing to do. Sometimes we just have to do that for eclipses. So changes are coming. I'm getting emotional changes for you, and you've got the King of Swords. The King of Swords is the champion for justice, about doing the right thing for the right reason, and also the truth seeker. So something is, and that's what eclipses are about. Something comes to the light. We're forced to look at something that we have perhaps been in denial about and being afraid. There's some fear there to look at something that we need to look at. And we have been too afraid to look at it. But sometimes the fear is what causes us the pain, right? So we have to overcome that. And the next card is the Nine of Swords. This is you in your head, sleepless nights. It's like, you know, worrying. You are thinking of the worst case scenario. Something is on your mind that's really bothering you, and you're going over and over it again, and you're just looking at the negative aspect, and you know you don't want to do that. This is you know, this is really important for us to really look at how we are communicating with ourselves. You know, what are we thinking? What's that negative thought process? Bring it out into the light. Let it shrivel. Let it die. Hand it over to your spirit guides or your belief system. You know, whatever it is that you need to do, do that. This is about being spiritually aware. And I always say the antidote to fear and the worst case scenario is meditation. So whatever you need to do, you know, meditation. Meditate. I can't tell you, it really does alleviate fear and pain. Now, clarifying that, you have the Chariot. And the Chariot is about balance, and it's about laser focus. It's about balancing that, you know, the shadow side and the light side. It's almost about controlling the two energies, right? You've got to accept, you know, I always say, look, the shadows, don't be afraid of the shadows. Embrace your shadow side. We all have a shadow side. Embrace it. Own it. Don't deny it. We all have it. It's there. And don't beat yourself up about your shadow side. Don't judge yourself on your shadow side. This is about bringing those two energies together. It's about being a whole person, and it's about coming through a difficult journey triumphantly. But this is also about keep moving forward. It's interesting because this Chariot's kind of stood still, and he's victorious. He's come through a very rough patch, and he's victorious, right? But he needs to keep the momentum going. You still have to keep going forward. Don't slack off. Keep this going, but be laser focused. Don't lose the focus. That's all I can say. Be in the moment. Don't be in your head. And it's hard because we do have Neptune trining this eclipse, but we also, it's a beautiful opportunity to, you know, delve deep into our spirituality and what we believe in. Even if you're, you know, an atheist or agnostic and you're just doing the next right thing, whatever that is for you, doing the right thing for the, you know, for the good of all. But getting in touch with that and exploring that and those feelings and exploring your internal dialogue and changing that. And the next card you have is the Ten of Swords. I'm really getting that there's an end to some suffering that you've been going through. On some level, there's been a suffering, whether it's self-inflicted, self-imposed, or imposed by others. You know, you may have felt betrayed, and this is a time to release that. Now, look, you can release the relationships that no longer serve you or work for you. That's another thing you can do. As my very good Scorpion friend says, you know, I'll cut them off. He cuts people off left, right, center. You know, you bother him, he's like, you might not know you bothered him, but he's cutting you off anyway. But this is really about letting go of that betrayal. And I think you're kind of at that point where you want to let that go. You're letting go of the past betrayals. And if that means moving on from somebody or some situation or some relationship, you're ready to move on. You're ready to make that move. And you're going, you know, it's about the pain's over, darling. You don't have to suffer anymore. It's done. Now, clarifying the Ten of Swords is the Seven of Wands. You've got two cards clarifying it. So the Seven of Wands is about standing up for what you know is right. This is about don't compromise your values for somebody else. It's very important to, you know, I know that Scorpios find it very hard to speak their truth. You know, they find it really difficult because they're so emotional. There's so much emotion in there that it's hard for them to express themselves in a way that's constructive sometimes. They have to wait a while because they're so, you know, emotionally charged. This is saying don't compromise your values. It's really important to stand up and say, tell your truth, Scorpio. You'll be freed from it. This is, you know, from not saying it, this is what you get. You get the worst case scenario. So you really have to kind of open up. And this is about standing up for what you know is right. And it's not about being mean or anything. It's just about saying, look, I understand you feel that way, but I feel this way because of this, this, and this, right? So it's important for you to come from a higher octave, from a higher position. It's not like you're looking down on people, but spiritually higher, you know, from the right place, from a diplomatic way, a kind and compassionate way, you know, to deliver your feelings and your position in a calm and serene and tranquil way, so that you'll be heard. And then you've got the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles represents abundance and manifesting what you want, but through hard work. So you can come through this pain with telling your truth, with standing your ground, not compromising your values, and working really hard at that. You will get what you want. You just have to put the work in. And that is just what's happening with this eclipse. It's about, you know, these are opportunities like new people, new beginnings, new experiences. But we kind of have to work for them. We've got to put the effort in. We've got to work hard because Saturn is also at play here. You know, rules and regulations and structure, right? So we have to honor that. Lessons even. So it is hard work. But in the end, manifesting. Scorpio, thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, family, social media, comment. I live for comments and feedback. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Mwah. I love you all, and I'll see you next week, or perhaps sooner.